So this one is from like a subreddit called Today I Fucked Up. Typically like self-humiliation stories. So today I fucked up by drugging the bartender and ruining a wedding.
I need to hear them out.
Yeah, so this fuck up happened the summer before COVID, but I think the statute of limitations are up, so I can tell this story. My wife and I went to her colleague's wedding. I'm not a huge drinker and I didn't really know anyone, so my plan was to grab some sort of cold, refreshing beverage, find somewhere to post up, and nurse it while I got really stoned and did some people watching, which leads me to my drugs. On the way to the wedding, I stopped at a dispensary and picked up a reusable vape pen thing. I'm a pretty traditional smoker. I go to the place and buy an eighth and smoke it in my ancient bowl over the course of the next month or two. I'd never had a pen before. I was just like, I'm going to a wedding and I want something that won't make me sleepy or mentally handicapped. And the young woman at the counter handed me this thing. As my wife was driving us over, I tried it out. I also don't smoke very much at one time and have a hard time with anything like joints or bongs, etc. When I do smoke these things, they hit way too hard, and I cough like crazy and hate myself. So I took a very small hit, noticed it hit really hard, and thought, quote, well, that's because you think everything hits too hard.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. I'm at the reception, standing in line to grab some drinks from the bartender, and notice the tip jar. Realizing I don't have any cash, I'm like, quote, dude, do you have Venmo or something? I know, LOL. And he's like, don't even worry about it, man. It's no big deal. But I'm a service industry vet, so I wanted to find a way to tip him because I know it's going to be a long night and a lot of people won't tip. So I'm like, all right, man, if my wife has some cash, I'll double back over. But in the meantime, if you party, and I show him the pen. He's like, oh, for real? Hell yeah, dude. And proceeds to take an enormous puff on this thing. Within seconds, he was doubling over and coughing uncontrollably. It was incredibly loud, and in under a minute, he was down on his hands and knees behind the bar, puking in the grass. Still, kind of no harm, no foul, until he gets up and puts all of his weight onto a tumbler glass that was sitting on the table he used to help himself up, cutting his hand open so badly. And then something very interesting happened, something that had never happened before. I started vomiting at the sight of the blood.
Oh, shit.
So naturally, this is pretty disruptive. And the groom, who just so happened to be nearby, comes over to see what's going on and fucking faints the second he sees this guy's hand, smashing his head on the bar/table on the way down. His face taking the tablecloth and everything on the table down with him. Totally unmitigated disaster. Both of them had to go to the hospital, and the bride was understandably super upset and screaming at the caterers. So I decided, well, it's been a good life, and begin to march over to explain to her what happened, when out of her mouth comes a series of very specific slurs directed at the owner of the catering company. I didn't get a single word out of my mouth before she said, fucking sue me, turned on her heel and told her people to just round her shit up and go. Cue the major shitstorm. Everyone is fighting with everyone, and almost all of the guests left. I told my wife what happened on the drive home, and she said I should call the catering company and apologize, which I did, and the owner laughed for 30 seconds on the phone before saying, well, whatever, fuck that bitch. So, yeah, don't smoke a lot of weed, I guess.
Okay. I don't think that this guy's the asshole. I don't think he drugged her. I was thinking that he, offered the bartender a Xanax, and then the bartender took a shot and, passed out behind the bar. He didn't know how strong the weed was. And neither did, and a lot of, blood phobia is, super common.
So common.
I feel no sympathy for the bride and groom now, because had the bride uttered some curse words, she'd be like, shit, fuck, this ruined my fucking day.
Yeah.
Slurs, however, means she's a bigot, and therefore I don't care what happens to you and your groom, because your groom must be okay with that if you guys are getting married.
Oh, he knows.
So, I think that, no, you didn't intend to drug someone.
No, this one was more of no words. It was just a domino effect of the bad got worse.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things of karma, a long time coming, for the bride. And I think her husband passed out, and then she showed her true colors when she insulted the staff who was probably trying to like soothe her, console her.
Yeah,
And
and
she's
just
calling them slurs.
apologize profusely, I bet.
Yeah, I would just be like, oh my God, I didn't know this would happen. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't be like, in no place in my life would I see someone attempting to help me or like, you know, resolve a situation and start like calling them slurs.
No.
I think that's her and her husband are definitely assholes. And I think that if anything, you did a really good thing drugging them. Drugging them, yes.
Karma.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, I guess like this poor little bartender, like, it is kind of on him for, you know, taking a. It
Yeah.
honestly sounds like this was a dab or something. Like, this was pretty aggressive shit. But it's kind of on him. But like the fiance and the fainting, like, it's just, you just can't. It's like an act of God. You just can't, like, that saying, like, it's just like uncontrollable.
Yeah, and he's also hurt, you know, so like even if you're like, I hope he gets his comeuppance, he's hurt, dude. That none of these people are everyone's an asshole. Some people are unintentional assholes. The couples, how they reacted is just like they're very much assholes.
Bridezilla asshole for sure.
Exactly. I understand it's your special day, but you could have made this like a fun, like, oh, sorry guys, but you didn't.
It could have just been like, oh my God, my fiance, get him up. Is he okay? Okay,
Yeah.
like, let's carry on.
Yeah, like
Send the bartender to the hospital.
Yeah, send the bartender to hospital, prop your husband up in a chair, and then have your own dance in the middle of the floor. Like, this is my time to shine.
Yeah, give him a lap dance out there.
Exactly.
You can make the best of a bad situation like this.
You can, and she didn't. She made the bad situation worse.
Yeah, like, she rounded everyone up, like, get my shit, let's go. Your night's not over. Who knows how injured he was just from a little head bonk.
Exactly.
He probably was fine, maybe a little concussed, but
He's a pussy. And you're a bitch.
he would have been fine.
Yeah.
Top comment on this one. This is a masterpiece of a shitstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Glad I wasn't at that wedding because, oof.